Trading is a profession that demands various skills. Skills like controlling your emotions, staying calm, composed, disciplined, and patient, being confident in the face of constant uncertainty, etc. But there's one skill which stands tall above all and can be a game changer if acquired. This is the same skill that differentiates traders from the analysts. This is the same skill that differentiates the profitable traders from the losing ones. And this indeed is the same skill that can help you break through the shackles of years of failures, agony, and misery. In this video, I am going to share 5 tips with you to get a grip on that skill. The skill that is undeniably the most important of all. The skill of execution. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Shrish here from Trading Explained. And now, without any further ado, let's begin. So let's start the video with tip number 1. Every trade that you take into markets needs to have a strong reason and a strong confluence for you to enter into that particular trade. Now what happens is usually pretty much everyone has their own setups. But when it comes to actually taking a trade, most people do not follow their own setups. Most people end up taking those random entries which are not based on their own setups. And this leads to their lack of profitability. This leads to their lack of consistency. You must have heard this a lot many times from profitable traders that your exit is what actually defines how your trade will end up looking like. Well, yes, it's true, I don't deny it. But that does not mean you should enter randomly into markets, right? You must know why are you entering into markets and you must know how to do it. So whenever you are taking a trade, make sure you know the reason behind taking the trade, and you also need to have some sort of confluence. What is confluence? Confluence basically means any supporting factor. To give you an example of what a confluence is, let's say the markets are trending on the downside and you feel the markets might actually continue their downward journey throughout the week. So you need to see the volumes. If your volumes are increasing when the markets are going down, then you have some sort of confluence. Getting my point? A supporting factor. On the other hand, if the markets are going down but the volumes are decreasing, which means that the markets might actually reverse from here, and thus you do not have a confluence in this second example. Getting it? So basically, confluence is a supporting factor that supports your original view. Alright, now let's continue the video with the second tip. So the tip number 2 is, after taking an entry, immediately place a stop loss in your system without any second thought. Now most people have this concept of mental stop loss in their setups because they keep getting hunted. What they do is they do not place a stop loss in their system but keep that level in their mind. They tell to themselves that if my trade goes wrong, if my setup goes wrong, I will exit if this particular XYZ level is taken out. They do this mistake of not putting a stop loss in the system and rather keeping it mentally. Now I will tell you, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. Now I know there are things like stop loss hunting, liquidity hunt, etc. But you can always take a re-entry if you got stopped out and if the market starts to move in your favor. You don't have to put a mental stop loss because market is a mastermind in manipulating minds. Market knows that you have a mental stop loss, and what it will do is it will just drag down against you instantly and it will not even give you the time to think upon it. And that is when it becomes rough. That is when you feel like, okay, let it come 20 points on the higher side, I will exit, because it is not going to go down to 0 today itself, right? And this mentality arises from not placing a stop loss in the system. This mentality arises from having a mental stop loss. Now, if you are very disciplined, like 200% disciplined person, and if you are able to cut down those trades as soon as your stop loss is getting hit without placing a stop loss in the system, then fine. But I don't recommend doing it. Most people place mental stop loss in order to not get hunted, just because sometimes market does that. It comes to your stop loss merely for a second or two, takes out your stop loss and then hits your target. To avoid that, most people go for the option of placing a mental stop loss. Maybe 8 out of 10 times you will get it right. Maybe 8 out of 10 times, you will avoid getting hunted. But those 2 times when the market will actually reverse down against you, you will get stuck so badly that you will not be able to trade another day in the markets. I have experienced this and I'm telling you from my experience, never ever place a mental stop loss. Place your stop loss in the system as soon as your entry is triggered. If it is hunting you out, take a re-entry. There's no harm in it, okay? But don't place a mental stop loss. Let's go ahead with the tip number 3 now. So when your entry is triggered and you have placed a stop loss in the system, give some breathing space to the market. Don't expect the trade to work out immediately. Now this is a mistake that many rookies do. This is a mistake that many traders do even after they have a bit of experience, right? They expect the markets to work in their favor as soon as they take a trade, as soon as they get into a trade. And that never happens, because as said previously, this is a profession that demands various skills and patience is one of them. So as soon as your entry is triggered, don't expect the markets to hit your targets within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It can take 1 hour, it can take 2 hours, sometimes it might even take more. So you need to give that breathing space to the markets, right? Just because it is not taking your target in 10 minutes or 15 minutes does not mean you are wrong. It just means that market is not ready for that kind of move yet. It just means that market might need some more time to accumulate the kind of orders that it needs. So don't exit out just because you feel it's not working out. You need to give that breathing space to the markets, and you need to wait patiently either until your target is taken out or your stop loss is taken out. Let's continue with the tip number 4, which is don't panic if the market is going against you. Stop loss is there to save you. Most people take an entry, place a stop loss, but as soon as the market drops even an inch against them, they panic and they exit out for no reason. What happens next? 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, 50 minutes later, their target is taken out, their stop loss is not taken out, and now they are angry, now they are furious. So don't do that mistake. If your stop loss is not getting hunted out, don't panic. Yes, you need to place your stop loss in the system, and if your stop loss is getting out, that's fine. But until your stop loss is getting out, you don't need to panic. Market needs some breathing space, as we discussed in the point number 3, right? It always needs that breathing space, and we need to give it to the markets. If you do not provide that breathing space, it is going to be difficult for you to hold on to a good trade, right? Whenever you take an entry, it does not mean the markets must reverse from that point, right? It can drop against you a few points and then actually start its reversal process or your trade process, isn't it? And this is the point that most people miss out on, that even if the market is going against you, there's no need to panic because stop loss is there to save you. And now the last tip, the tip number 5, don't do manual intervention at all. Let the market decide what it needs to do with your trade. Let the market decide whether it needs to take your stop loss or target. Don't do manual intervention. Now, I have done this mistake many times in the past, and I see many people do this mistake too. So I considered this as a point over here. Many people do this mistake of exiting out of a trade before the market actually takes their target or stop loss, just randomly because they felt that, okay, aaj ka mera ho gaya, I am done with today because I have good profits. They exit out of the trade. But if your target is not met and you're exiting out of that trade, then what's the point of taking the trade in the first place? Right? Because you entered into a trade because, as we discussed in point number 1, tip number 1, that you had a strong reason, you had a strong confluence for entering into a trade, and you had your plans for, why market will go to XYZ level. And before that level is getting achieved, if you exit out of that trade just because you felt satisfied, then you are again trading based on your emotions. It is not of how much you're making or how much you're losing. It is basically whether you are following your trade process or not. And a manual intervention in a trade before the market actually takes your stop loss or target is a definitive way to tell that you are actually trading based on your emotions. So don't do that. And these were my 5 tips to help you improve your execution. Now I'm going to come back with a series of such videos where I'm going to share tips with you to increase your execution power, because obviously, as you can figure out, this is a vast topic and cannot be done with one video. I cannot explain you all these things of execution, of how to improve your execution in one video. So we are going to come back with more videos like this, but I will need your support for that. So smash the like button and subscribe to the channel, because I keep coming back with such videos that revolve around trading, trading psychology, trading success, trading consistency. Everything that you need to know about trading, you will find on this channel. So make sure to subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Until then, you guys take care. Bye bye. Peace out.